guys, Casey Acree here. I have been getting a lot of messages since the CrossFit HQ video of me doing muscle ups came out to kind of go over the types of straps that I use, how I modify them, and how I've been able to use them for myself. So it was actually fairly good timing. I just got a bunch of new straps, so I'm going to kind of just go through the kinds that I use, show how I modify them to basically fit for my arm. I have a couple different kinds that I'll use, and then I'll kind of show how I use them on the barbell or on the pull-up bar or whatever it is that we're doing. So the straps that I have used for the last few years, oddly enough, are just Razor scooter straps. So these are just like a nice heavy kind of canvas, pretty durable type of strap. It's basically the same material as like a draw strap or something like that. They're kind of hard to find these days, the actual Razor scooter straps. Basically kind of find this same type of material at like a hardware store or something like that. In the case that you do happen to find the Razor scooter straps, I'll show you how I get mine set, and then I'll kind of also show you some other ones that I've made out of just material that I bought at like a hardware store. So if you can find like a Razor scooter strap, it's probably going to come like this. It's kind of just this long strip. It has a buckle, it has some metal clips, and it kind of just looks like one length. And so this was used originally to like carry a scooter over your shoulder. So I found one of these in my friend's garage a long time ago, and that's whenever I started using it for my lifting straps. So basically what you would do, it would come like this, like I said, but to get it into a loop is you would kind of just pull it through on one end, and then bada bing, bada boom, you've basically got it set up in a loop kind of position that can actually be, the length of it can actually be modified based on whatever your particular needs are. So like I said, it has these metal clips that kind of start off on it, and they're really easy to get off. All you really need to use is like a screwdriver and some needle nose pliers, and you kind of just pull it right off. So then once you get those off, this is basically what it's going to look like. It's essentially just the strap, and it still has the plastic buckle clip on it, so you're going to want to leave that on there as well, because that kind of sets the middle point of where you're going to have it set at. And so then for me, almost this normal length, lucky enough, is the length that I need it to be set at. I like to pull it a little bit shorter, but not really very much, just so that I have a little bit of that extra slack pulled through on the top end of it. So from there, to get it to where it's going to be secure and stay in place, the stitching will do that for you for the most part if the full length is good for you. But I like for mine to be, like I said, pulled through a little bit further, and I like for it to be secured a little bit better. So generally I would use like athletic tape, or I've actually been trying it out with some duct tape. So this is kind of like my final product, the modified strap. So that kind of buckle is held fairly tight in there. I've got a good few layers of tape kind of securing it in place, so that not only keeps it from pulling that extra slack through and lengthening it, but it also kind of gives me a good spot to double around the bar, and I can modify the length of it just a little bit. So I'll kind of show you how I do that, just depending on what it is that I'm doing. And so it's very secure. It's really, really heavy duty material. Like I said, it's kind of hard to find the actual Razor scooter straps. You can try like on eBay or Amazon or something like that if you just type in like Razor scooter carrying straps, but most of them, they don't really make them with that anymore. So they're kind of hard to find, and it takes a few months for more to kind of pop up on the internet randomly. So look, we'll go ahead and get these set up on the barbell and show you how I apply them to the movements that I use. So now, as far as actually kind of using these on the barbell, it's really pretty simple overall. So I've got just a nice long loop on the strap now, and so basically to do things like cleans or deadlifts or pretty much anything else on the barbell other than snatches, all I'm going to do is on this front end, just because that's the way that I kind of like for it to be set up, I'm just going to loop that strap back through itself, And then I'm also going to pull a little bit further on one side to get that tape part to kind of wrap around the bar, so it's in a good spot where it's not taking up too much space. And then I kind of have that open side of the strap set up to where it's comfortable for me to reach through, grab on. And now since I have that strap set to the right length for me, it's good for me to do deadlifts or power cleans or whatever it might be. So for power cleans, what I can do is kind of shoot my elbow through, and then that strap is still right there for me to cycle, or I can grab onto it on the way down, go right back into the next repetition. So then for pull-up bar stuff, whether it's toes to bar pull-ups or muscle ups or whatever it might be, very same principle as with getting it set up on the barbell. You're just going to pull that loop through, get it set. And so you can see that I again kind of pull that tape through further on one side so that it gets kind of wrapped around the bar so it's not bulky, taking up a bunch of the room there. And then from here I can go into whatever movement that it is I'm wanting to do. So it's good length for me to do pull-ups, chest to bars, muscle ups, all those things. Little things or pieces of advice. First thing is obviously not everybody's arm is going to be the same length, or you might not have elbow flexion or anything like that. So if that's the case, what it's going to take for you is probably just to kind of experiment with different ideas of what works for you. That's really what it took for me, is just trial and error of a bunch of different things. I had other pieces of equipment that I'd used before that weren't ideal, and I just kind of gradually improved them and built upon that. So it just takes experimentation, and while you're doing that, just make sure you're doing it safely. Don't start with a brand new piece of equipment and immediately try to PR that day. For me, each time I tried something new, I made sure that I was practicing it with an empty barbell or a PVC pipe, or without trying to do a whole bunch of stuff all at once. And then I made sure through that process that it was truly going to work. And that's whenever I knew I could start to add some intensity to it. It's kind of just the same principles that we would use in CrossFit anyways, is to first build the mechanics of it and then start to build the intensity once you've maintained and kind of created that consistency with each movement that you're doing. Last little thing with that, whenever you're using new straps, depending on what your arm shape is or how you're using it, you might find that the new straps can kind of give you some scars. So like I said, I'm breaking in some new straps right now, so you might want to use wraps or tape or something like that to kind of just help protect your skin from getting worn down until you kind of get that strap broken in a little bit, because usually once I get mine set in a good spot and it's maybe kind of stretched out a little bit, it usually doesn't do that. But when they're new, they tend to kind of rip up the skin and that type of thing. So I would recommend trying to find a way to kind of protect your skin so that you're able to keep training. Guys, I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully this was somewhat helpful for you, or maybe you have some ideas that you can take from this and apply to your training. If you guys have any questions, always feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram at Casey_Acree, or even on Facebook. My name's just Casey Acree, CASEY ACREE. Thanks.